What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Nick 4K video. Today we're checking out a video from Forgotten Tomatoes, and he's going to be covering the differences between the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K and the Blu-ray that was released in 2010, which I believe is the most recent format before the 4K one dropped. Now, if you're new to the channel, and specifically these comparison videos I like to check out, you would think that the 4K editions of movies would automatically be better in all ways, but that's not always the case. So today, let's see. Is the 4K actually better than the Blu-ray? Check it out. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn notifications for more. With that said, let's begin. Okay, so if you look right here, these are all the specifics. Of course, there's no HDR on the Blu-ray, but these are different aspect ratios. Interesting. Not that big of a difference. You won't really notice, but it's still, that is different. I'd assume that this was the original aspect ratio, but then again, there was a span of time where Blu-rays would just kind of do their own aspect ratios. I have no idea why, but my theory is that the 4Ks, they usually bring the aspect ratio back to the original. So once again, not a big deal, really, but it is kind of like strange that Blues did that for a while. Yeah, much more crispier, much more brighter. That's the HDR, that's the 4K. Yep, just way better. Next shot here. Okay. Okay. $4K is way better. One thing I'll say is 4K is crispier, but I might like the lighting of the Blu-ray more. Let's check out this double shot here. I think I like the lighting of the blue more. Something about it being more brighter in the background kind of gives like the lighting behind her at the top looks more like fire, kind of more reminiscent of fire, kind of more like hell, right? Like she's walking into hell type of thing. Where like the bottom one looks more like it's just kind of light. So I guess you could say that the bottom one is more realistic, which makes sense. It's the 4K. It's supposed to have fixed colors. This is the way it probably looked. I don't know. I kind of like the colors of the blue more. I don't know. That's just my preference. But overall, if we're not talking about the colors, the 4K shot is just ultimately better. Even just look at this ladder. Just small details here and there, but it's just more crispy. Her shirt's more crispy. Yeah, it's just better. Even her hair, it's better. Next shot. Okay, okay. Okay, so you look at the difference here. A big difference, like I said, besides the colors. Obviously, the 4K is the more legit, more real-looking colors. But I do kind of like the blues tint. Whatever the blues using, I kind of dig it. Overall, of course, 4K's clarity is way better. And as you can see, there was some DNR done to the original film stock. As you can see, there is a little bit of grain, which I think people really like. In a lot of my videos, I always talk about how there has to be this kind of median between your grain and your DNR. I think DNR to a certain point is really good if it's done well. But if you overdo it, then things become more waxy. I think they did a pretty good job so far for what I've seen just from this screenshot anyways. So if you compare the two, like I said, the 4K is the real colors. These are the actual colors of what the shot was. And this has a tint to it. Look at the sidewalks. The sidewalks are much more yellow, more green. Even the grass a little more brighter in the background here. There's definitely a lot less grain in this 4K shot, which makes it a better shot overall. But I gotta be honest, like I said, the colors of the 4K are more realistic. They're more the way they're supposed to be looking. But I don't mind the blues colors so far for just these two shots, right? I really don't mind this color. I actually kind of prefer it with a little more extra, I don't know, maybe that yellow tint just kind of works better for me. But overall, if we're talking about clarity, let's go back to this shot quick. You're talking about clarity. You're talking about getting rid of all that extra haze. Like, all of this is gone. Like, look at that extra film grain. And I don't think that's actually that bad based off this screenshot. But if you look at that full 4K shot here, the grain is gone completely. Like almost completely gone, but not completely gone. Yeah. Yeah, 4K shot's better for sure. But like I said, I don't mind the Blu-ray's colors. That might just be me, but that's how I feel. Okay, now this is an example of where I actually think the 4K colors are better than the blue. Yeah, I don't know if I even have to stop this one. There's more clarity in the hair. Their skin is more natural. Overall, the 4K shot is the better shot here. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's different. Wow. Let's look at this. Okay. That's different. And you could say it's really not that big of a difference, but there is definitely more of a I don't know. So obviously there's a difference in clarity. We can tell this is the 4K. You can make out every strand of her hair. It is the better shot, right? When we're talking about quality. There's a little extra wrinkle here. You can see that in the first one, but you can really make out more of her wrinkles in the 4K, obviously. That makes sense. Even her lips, you can see like the extra little wrinkles in the lips. Um, the biggest difference from her is that in this shot, she looks more tan. And that might be because of the Blu-ray crush. When they make blues, they kind of crush them to make them 1080p. The 4K is allowed to expand out more, so it allows for more colors. I would say this grass is actually more green than this grass, so therefore you would suspect that there's a little bit more of a saturation boost in this shot. If you look at her shirt, you can't really make it out as well because of the tags here. But if you look at her shirt, it's much more pink in this shot. This shot's more pink and white. So the difference is one of those things where like you can make an argument like in motion this wouldn't matter, but even like look at her jacket here. It's more of like a purplish blue. This is definitely just blue. Like I said, with a lot of these comparisons, this probably doesn't matter to a lot of people, but it is a point to make. The 4K is a much more natural photo. This is what she actually looked like. You can tell that there's sun beamed on her. In this shot, kind of looks like she might be standing in the shade. I do think that maybe the blue makes her look younger. The 4K definitely makes her look older. Like I said, not a big deal, but it is something to kind of point out. So I don't know which shot I like more. I guess I prefer the colors of this one more. She looks more youthful. This one you can tell she's an older actress playing a teenager. But I mean, it still looks good. You know, you can make out the freckles. It looks good. I don't know. That comes down to personal opinion. Next shot. Okay, there's a lot going on in this shot. Huh. Yeah, the 4K is better. Okay, so I'll tell you why the 4K is the better shot. So while I think that the colors in the 4K are better in this shot, it's not that much different, but it is, you know, the 4K is the overall better quality shot when it comes to its colors. I will say that the big thing for me is the depth of field that you see in the 4K that you just don't get in the blue. And what I'll make an example of that quick. Let me see if I can pull that back up here. So this is a busy shot, like I said. Here he is in the foreground. He's the one in focus. They're out of focus. That's why they're blurred out, obviously. And then there is a another level of the wall back here. And of course, you can even say the table's another level too, but I'm going to put those on the same level. Overall, background, second ground, foreground. That's what we're going off here. And the best example is with the glasses here. Watch these glasses. See how there's a glass there? In this shot, even though the glass is more in focus than she is, there's more depth of field between her and that glass. Like you definitely can tell she's here. There's the background. The glass is more in focus. Even though the glass isn't 100% in focus, this glass is actually more in focus than that. Even the popcorn's a little more in focus than that. But there's more of a depth of field. It feels like there is actually, you're not watching just a picture, you're watching space. It's able to capture that space better with the 4K. With the blue, it looks just flat. You know, like you could even, like, this looks like this table could be right against her leg from a certain perspective, where the 4K is actually able to capture that extra clarity that is in that glass. Like I say with a lot of these things, guys, a lot of this doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter because in motion, you won't even notice it. But in these screenshots, the 4K is the better one for sure. Okay, so now we're getting to the night shots. What I've noticed with a lot of my comparison videos that I've seen, the night shots are where the 4K sometimes lose against the blue. In daytime, the 4K pretty much wins every single time. But it's the night shots where sometimes the blue is actually better. And that's because whatever DNR they ran on it, or whatever type of color changes they tried to do for the night shots, just didn't work out in the 4K transfers. Not all the time, but there were actually some times where the blues actually beat the 4Ks out. Let's check it out. Okay, I don't mind this one as much. I actually think this is a pretty good 4K night shot. I appreciate all the extra shines. If you look, I don't think this is the same shot. No, actually, look at this. Look at this light right here. Look at this light. Let's go back for a second. Not a big deal, but it is something to point out. Check out this light right here. You see that? It's like yellowish green. Now it's orange. And if you look at the reflection here, yellowish green reflection, orange. So that's an example of the filter being on the original blue that is just not there in the 4K. I don't know. See, here's the thing. This is a dream sequence. And there's a lot of dream sequences in this movie. You haven't seen it before, but this is a dream sequence. So the idea that there is a filter over these dream sequences, that everything is kind of more dark, more deathly, I guess you could say, the more blue, more, see how everything is extra blue because of the filter they used on this. Where in the 4K, everything is more real. So you have to ask the question, while the 4K is the better shot, like there is much more field of view here, you can make out more of the details on the wood. Obviously, details are always going to be better on the 4K than the blue. That's just the way it is. But the color is the question. Because, like I said with this light, even these lights up here, this is much more brighter. This is bluer right here. I think that's actually a blue light in the background on the 4K, so that didn't change much. But even here, this is a white strip of like roof. Up here, it's blue. It begs the question, since this is a nightmare, would it make more sense for all of them to actually be more blue? I guess it comes down to your personal opinion. Obviously, I prefer more natural colors, so I'm going to say the 4K is better. But the blue actually isn't that bad, considering it is a dream sequence. And if you look at the theme of the movie, the idea of like she's about to die type of thing, I actually kind of dig that it has a filter up here. But like I said, if we're talking about overall better shot, 4K. I actually think that maybe a combination of the two of them, the clarity of the 4K with the extra darkness of the blue, I'd actually maybe make it a little darker, a little more like you're in a nightmare feel. But that's personal opinion. Let me know, which one would you prefer? Do you prefer the realistic colors of the 4K with the extra sharpening? Or do you actually like the more dark blue filter that they used on the blue? Let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. Next shot. He marked the clipped highlight detail. That's a fair point. Right there. Yep. In the 4K, that's not happening. I mean, it is kind of happening still, but not like the blue. This is another one of those cases where I actually prefer the blue's color. I prefer the blue color, but in every other way, the 4K is just far superior. Next shot. Yeah, this is a rough shot, and mostly just because, like he mentioned, another blown out shot. Yeah, there's actually much more detail in the back. Of course, the 4K is going to be better here. But this is one of those things where, with these older cameras, it's a lot easier to miss your focus. And as you can see, they missed the focus on her. She's not even in focus, and he wasn't in focus either. She's blurry. So I don't know what they were focused on, but she's not. It wasn't her. So, you know, that's one of those things where you can't fix that. I mean, maybe one day they'll be able to actually have like AI abilities to actually refocus people who are out of focus. But, you know, overall, the 4K is better. I will say though, I kind of dig that in the blue you can make out her shirt a little better. It almost looks like in the blue she is a little bit more unfocused, or at least her shirt is. Where the 4K, that might just be because of the expanding of the pixels. And this, it creates the texture better, but in this shot, I guess it's more natural in this shot though. So I don't know. I guess that comes down to personal preference as well. But overall, 4K is the better shot. But then again, everything's blurry anyways, so it doesn't matter much. Uh, hmm. I don't know. This is one of those cases, like I said, with this movie so far, the 4K is the more true to life picture. Like even just looking at the pink on her shirt, now you can actually make out that these are two different shirts. Like if you're just kind of looking at this shot, this looks like she's wearing one pink shirt. But once you actually break it down, you look at the 4K, you can actually see the difference between the two pinks. In this, they blend very well together. You don't even realize she's wearing a shirt and then she's wearing a vest on top of that shirt. Where if you look at the 4K, you can clearly make that out. So, like I said, 4K is better. Overall, so far in all these shots, the 4K has been better. But I do kind of dig the colors of the blue. I dig that. I dig what they're doing with this. I dig that her shirt is more pink. I dig that this shirt's more pink. I dig that her skin is more pink and that her eyes are more colored than you can see in the 4K. And that's just because of, like I said, the filter they've been using through the blue. I don't know. Overall, so far, the 4K is the better transfer in all different ways. But my personal preference for a movie like this, I kind of like my colors to be a little more saturated, especially when it comes to nightmare sequences. So, 4K is the better shot. But once again, the blue's colors are more my favorite so far, based off these screenshots. In motion, probably wouldn't even notice it. 4K probably looks better in motion. But in screenshots, I got to give the color the blue. I just prefer the blue's color. That might just be me. That's how I feel. All right, maybe have like one or two more of these. Let's see what we got. All right, bath scene. This is such a weird scene. I hate this scene. I really hate this scene. Yeah, so they definitely cleaned up the DNR. That's the obvious thing. As far as like extra quality, you really can't pull anything out of that shot. Because the only thing that's in focus is her legs and the blades here. But it's not like that's going to add any extra to it. I don't know. I guess I prefer the 4K just because of the extra DNR wiping that has been done. And it's good DNR. Bubbles are a little more clarity. Overall, the 4K shot is just the better shot. If you look at the green here, even her skin color is more crushed. But overall, I think that the 4K is more natural. I'm going to go with that one for this shot. Okay, so that's it. So overall, the 4K was better. Although I do appreciate the blues colors. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm completely wrong? Are you going to be picking up the 4K? Let me know in the comments below. I'll also leave a link to that down in the description if you want to pick it up. Use that. Helps out my channel. I appreciate it. But that's it for watching, guys. Make sure to check out my other videos here hanging around my head somewhere. And I'll catch you next one. Peace.